The All Day Films Podcast.
All day, baby.
We're all just a bunch of frequencies.
It's just really, we started talking a few weeks ago and about this podcast, and you came up with the idea for me to come into the gym, try it out, and I'm not gonna lie, I was very scared to come in here at first.
Of course, naturally.
Yep.
It's always hard. It's always hard to do stuff and walk into the unknown.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all that stuff takes courage. So, hats off to you or anyone else who's trying something new, because you got to start at the ground level.
I consider myself like somewhat of an athletic person, but the thought of like coming into a gym where you guys are throwing like 250 pounds over your shoulders and stuff, like that image is what kind of scared me at first. You know?
And I mean, you, first of all, you are athletic. Like, I know you're athletic. You're a wakeboarder, hockey player, all those things. So John's athletic. I can confirm that. But that's a natural thing, and that's probably the biggest dark cloud over CrossFit is there's two different sides to CrossFit. So I run a CrossFit gym here in Wixom, CrossFit Fate, and it's always an ongoing battle to just dispel the myth of CrossFit's intense. That's what you hear. So there's two parts to it. Like, we run a gym where we train general population. My father, he's 61, and we have a multitude of elderly clients, and I say elderly, over 60, and they all do this intense workout.
That to me is what confused me too. When you were telling me, I'm like, I don't believe it. But I really don't. I didn't believe it.
And I mean, again, like, you're spot on, because CrossFit, like anything else, is a business first and foremost. So they have the business, which is the sport of CrossFit, what people get exposed to on TV. So they see the CrossFit games, and they're like, holy cow. Like, these people are diced up, and they're throwing around weights, they're running around, they're climbing ropes. You know, they're doing all these incredible things, and it is definitely, it puts off some interesting vibes, and you get people who are like, no way, that stuff is way too intense.
Well, that's the thing I wanted to cover too, because like the first day I came in here, that Friday, you asked me a lot of questions about, you know, what injuries do you have, and I was like, dude, my shoulder's jacked, both my knees are jacked, like,
sure,
you know, just watch out. But you took that to heart, and you really like honed in, so I appreciated that going into the workout.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I would say, again, I started out as a beginner. So when I opened up the gym, if you would have asked me like in high school, hey, what do you want to be growing up? The last thing I would have said was a gym owner. So I'm as shocked as anyone else. But through the journey, I started as a beginner, and you just learn the paces, and I really didn't know what to look for to deliver a solid service. But as you hone your craft, the first thing you need to do is I need to know you, the ins and outs on an intimate level, if I'm going to provide a outstanding or above the norm service. So first thing, like, I'm taking, you know, I know you, but let's just say a regular client off the street, I don't know anything about them, and I'm pretty much taking their word, like, you know, my name's Joe or whatever, and I'm in good shape, and I'm 45, and it's like, okay, Joe, well, let's talk about, you know, do you have any injuries? Do you have any pre-existing medical conditions? Because at the end of the day, you know, the buck stops with me. If you have a bad experience, or you get injured, or if you have a medical episode, something laying dormant, like, that's going to make me feel bad, and I didn't do a good job, because I'm supposed to improve your health, not hurt you or get you injured. That's not the goal.
I think what you're really good at is what I've noticed is you were mentioning certain like little, just being able to see like different parts of someone's like core, for example. You can tell like within like 5 seconds what they should maybe focus on too.
Sure. And right? Again, like,
that comes with experience, right?
100%.
Yep.
So you're spot on. Like, again, this is going to come off as braggadocious, but I feel like I've gotten to the point now. We're going on 11 years here, and I started with a partner, and I learned a lot from my partner. Shout out to Matt. So Matt was my partner initially, and then we went our separate ways. But he's very knowledgeable, and I watched him, and I watched other people, and you kind of steal and borrow these little nuggets from everyone. I mean, there's really no original ideas or very little. So you're borrowing, and then you kind of mold yourself into what you want to be. And at this stage of the game or this season that I'm in, it's like, hey, I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing because I can watch someone move through space with a barbell or a kettlebell or whatever, and I can pick out little nuances that's going to help you move better, which in turn is going to make you fitter, faster, stronger, and hopefully improve you and your capabilities in everyday life.
So you mentioned actually, let me turn this up. So you mentioned you had the gym for about 11 years. Like that's
Yes, sir.
That's about a decade.
Yeah. No, I mean, dude, it's really like I now have a son. So I have a son, and God, I mean, that definitely just taps into a whole different part of your heart that I didn't know it was even capable. But again, these things are starting to age me. It's like, wow, 10 years is not a short period of time, but you can make leaps and bounds in your craft, in your life, and anything you want to do in 10 years. Like that's a good amount of time for sure.
Well, like you're your own product too of what you are teaching. So it is important that you're, displaying yourself as almost like as a brand too, through your own journey. I mean, it's been a pretty rough battle for you.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like when I was, again, this is just part of getting better and maturing, but when I was younger and when I was in high school, like everyone does, I experimented and made some bad decisions. So, I've been sober for about 12 years.
We've seen each other on the streets.
Yes. Seen each other on the streets.
We've seen each other on the streets.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't regret the path that I've taken, but just, I guess, coming out with it, I'm clean and sober for 12 years, and the gym really saved my life, along with my lovely parents and having a strong support system here. But yeah, I mean, I made some really poor decisions that got me in basically, we just call it your rock bottom. So I hit my rock bottom. I wound up getting into a bad accident, and thank God the only person who was came out of it on the wrong end was me. And I didn't injure anyone else, which could have been life-altering, and it happens to people. But I was gifted a second chance. So I think that it's a nod to everyone else who's invested in me as a person. And again, like I said, I come from a solid upbringing. So there was really, when I thought about it, there's no reason for me to waste this beautiful opportunity that we only get one shot at to do, which is life. So it sounds cheesy, but I'm here for it, and my mission, my purpose is to be here at CrossFit Fate and to help as many people as I humanly can improve their quality of life, whatever that looks like for them, whether they want to be a high level athlete, or if it's mom, dad, or grandpa who just wants to get a little bit fitter so they can play with their grandkids, whatever that looks like. That's what I'm really here to do.
Two things I want to cover.
Okay.
One being the community aspect of this gym versus like a conventional gym.
Sure.
And then the other is going to be actually three things. I want to know your diet, like how you went to Costco today and you bought a bunch of shit. I want to know exactly what you bought.
Yes,
because
sir.
We're going to put that shot on.
We can break it down.
You need to break it down. You got your phone on you.
Yes, sir.
So I want you to talk about how the community that you built over the last decade, like I could see it, man. Just coming here the last 2 days, and it's special.
Yeah, dude, honestly, the hair on the back of my neck standing up because this stuff is getting really real. The community here it's super cliche in CrossFit because everyone will try and sell you on the community. You go to a CrossFit's webpage, and the first thing they're going to talk about is community. But community can't be something that's a gimmick. You really have to be in the trenches, and you have to do the work and build and harvest these relationships. and then it will work for you. So the community here is, if you go to Lifetime and I'm not calling them out, I love Lifetime, but Lifetime or a big box gym, you put in the earphones, you got the traditional garb, whatever that is, and it's like bro time. Or you got the girls wearing the tight leggings and all that stuff, and you go and you do your thing. It's like hoodie up, and you go about your business, and no one's really conversing with each other. There's no community.
I feel like sometimes I'm gonna get smacked in the face if I talk to like a chick.
Well, exactly. Like, so when you come here, I wanna talk to you. I wanna reach out and grab you. I wanna ask you what your name is, what's your injuries, what's your history, what do you do for work, where do you come from? Because the more I know about you, not only are you gonna see, one, I care about you and your success, and you're not just, hey, sign this contract, I want your money. I'm really trying to help you out. And the more I know about you, your background, what you're about, where you want to go, it just helps the product. And then everyone around you just taps into that, and everyone's talking. Everyone wants to know each other. We got people who have passed away here. We got people who have been in each other's weddings. I just went yesterday to, she's one of my good friends and a coach.
Yeah, tell me about your coaches. You got how many coaches here, and how long have they been with you?
Sure. So I have myself, I do this full time, so I do take on a big responsibility, but I have a great team. I have Brian McDermott. He was a member here. He lost over 100 pounds before he even stepped into the door. And he did that on his own, but then he came here and he really dialed in his body. He started building a lot of muscle and building new capabilities through CrossFit and general physical preparedness. So he's one coach I have. He's a great guy. And then I have Cheyenne and I have Angela, and they're two ladies. So Cheyenne and Angela are two women, and they're great as well. Angela I've known for about a decade, and she's also a physical therapist. So she's a mom of three, a physical therapist, a great coach, and these people are invested. And same thing with Cheyenne. I mean, she has other worldly experiences. She's worked at a big box gym before, so they all bring a special piece, or they're a big contribution to just seeing different looks. Because people might like me or they latch on to someone, but you need all these different brushes from different people, because sometimes someone just connects with someone else. And I don't take that personally, and I don't want to be just the main guy. Like, eventually you need to build up these other coaches, which is a whole another side of the coin. So, I mean, they've been great, and without them, I would be nothing. So,
what's that quote we were talking about? You can't go far without a crew or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no I in team. You need a solid team. I don't remember that quote, but I just,
something along those lines. Or I'll have to pull it up. But anyways, you get the point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can't do this on my own. I'm only one person.
I can't do this podcast alone, man. That's why we're here together.
Dude, I mean, honestly, it's crazy how everything just comes full circle. You start drawing all these parallels, and it's odd that the gym's name is CrossFit Fate, and that this word is so prevalent in my life. Like, everything really happens for a reason. None of this is by accident, and I truly believe, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be talking to you. We're supposed to be doing this podcast. I'm supposed to be having this gym, and this stuff is really profound. And all those cheesy things your parents tell you or you hear about when you're younger, they start to pop up as you get older, and you realize, like, this is what it's really about, is giving back to the community and your family and friends. Okay. I like that. Yeah, if you type in what is conjugate training, like, Louis Simmons is a part of that, but then it dates back to the USSR and the Soviets, like all the way from the 70s. I didn't invent it.
All right, let's just go straight into that Facebook,
okay,
those Facebook messages.
It.
So break it down for me. What is the first
question?
What's the first question on there?
Well, I mean, the first answer. Someone said,
put that mic up to your mouth a little bit more.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. If you need to grab it, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, grab that fucker and move it closer.
How's that?
Hold on, is it not going for you?
No, it is.
Yeah, don't be shy.
Okay. I don't want to mess your stuff up. Is that?
You should see how much shit I break.
I would imagine this stuff is kind of delicate.
Yeah. I've dropped cameras and
Really?
I just dropped my drone the other day, bro.
Ooh, yeah, that's right. You
out
said
of my
that.
car.
That's right. You said that.
That's like $1,000
God.
right
Yeah,
now.
that's a fun mistake.
Well, it's just the gimbal I think that's broke, but I don't even know yet. It wasn't even connecting to my. Anyways. All right, so pull open that Facebook group, all those pages.
I got it.
All right, what's the first question?
So my buddy Eduardo, who he's a great guy, but he asked, what is the conjugate method, why you started to use it, and how it's going. So
what is it exactly?
Yeah, so this is a wild question. So we do CrossFit, but inside of that, as you get deeper and deeper into it, things can get stale. So even with CrossFit, you can get some movement redundancy. And in order to stimulate and grow, you need to constantly vary your movements, which is what CrossFit is all about. You're doing constantly varied functional movements at high intensity, which is just a bunch of gibberish. But conjugate was invented by the Soviets in the USSR way back in the 70s. So they've been doing this for 50 years or longer. And then it was adopted by Louis Simmons and Westside Barbell, which a lot of people know about. And he ran a very successful and arguably the best gym over here in the Midwest. So he was in Ohio and he passed away. But he popularized and used that for powerlifting. Well, we've adopted the conjugate training, which all that really is GPP, and GPP stands for General Physical Preparedness, and that is essentially CrossFit. So if you've ever done physical fitness in school, you play with the monkey bars, you do life sports, you run around, you do floor hockey, you're constantly varying the way that you move your body. They call them life sports. So as long as you're doing this is, human movement, this is general physical preparedness or fitness. That's what we do here. So we don't stick with one method of exercise, or we don't repeat upper body splits, lower body splits. We constantly vary and add constant variance to all movements.
So what you're telling me is like it's essentially like what the word cross training means in a way, right?
Exactly. CrossFit was just smart enough, and the CEO did a great job of repackaging that and then branding it, and now it's a brand and you can have affiliates and it's a licensee model. So basically inside these gyms, the brand CrossFit, it's independently owned and operated. It's not a franchisee model. So you could go to one CrossFit gym. It's a completely different experience than the other one. But underneath that, a deeper layer to that is he didn't invent CrossFit. General physical preparedness was invented by the Russians, who predetermined what people were going to do based off of their archetype, their body style, through research and scientific development way back in the 70s, because the Olympics was a great way for third world countries or people like that who would put their country on a pedestal through athletics. So they put in a great deal of research and development in creating these superpowers, which we saw in the Olympics. The Russians have been phenomenal forever, and it's not by accident. This is by design. They put a lot of research into it, and they developed a lot of these methods that we're just starting to popularize today.
Yes, the way that I interpret this, how do I say this?
Mm-hmm.
If you're a busy person
mm-hmm.
and you want to get the most efficiency for your time,
mm-hmm.
these types of workouts would be. It's kind of a different topic, but you get what I'm saying.
No, it ties in nicely because everyone wants to have the latest and greatest. However, we discussed earlier, I have 11 years in the game, which a lot of people have been doing this for 20, 30 years. I by no means have it all figured out, but you can definitely start to get a good grasp on it. And I'm an expert. This is my expertise. So I hand that off to you through a monetary value. You pay me a decent amount of money, and for that money, I give you an efficient total body workout that is going to make you a Swiss Army knife. So you're not going to be a specialist or the greatest at anything. anything, but you're going to be good at a whole bunch of things. So whatever life throws at you, if you go out wakeboarding, you're not gonna be embarrassed. You might stand up and catch a little ride. If you go and play pickup basketball with your buddies, you're not gonna be the best guy, but you can hang in there.
The one thing I can relate was on Saturday when Brian was putting us through that workout. I told him, I go, sometimes I need someone to put a gun to my head in order to get me to move like that. And that's what I enjoyed about that experience specifically.
And you're spot on. So like my dad, again, he's 61 and he comes here and he works out Monday through Friday. It's a non-negotiable. He does that. And the reason he does that is because if he was left to his own vices, I mean, he's a successful guy, he's highly motivated, but everyone needs to be around other people. You're going to work harder regardless. Someone puts a phone on you and records you, you're going to work harder. So you're going to do better in the hands of a professional, like a doctor's appointment. You drive here, you get your mind ready, and then it's all laid out for you. We run you through a warm-up, a strength portion, and then a conditioning, and we have the expertise. All you have to do is show up, be coachable, and then give your best effort, and it's a win-win.
I love it, man. All right, so I think we hit that topic.
I think we did too.
What would be the next one?
So Nicole we kind of touched on that, and then myths. So Nicole said, what are myths about CrossFit or in general? And she's a female, so she said heavy lifting, and this is a big problem for sure. So you get ladies who you talk about guys, it used to be called being muscle bound. So people didn't want athletes to lift weights because they'd be muscle bound. They think it makes them slower if you gain too much muscle. Same thing with ladies. Ladies want to be tone. We're not printers, so you can't be tone. You need to gain muscle and you need to lift heavy weights to do that. This is going to stoke your metabolism, and this is going to make your tendons and joints and your bone density for long-term health and fitness just greater. Overall, it's needed.
It's probably what I've been missing this whole time.
Yeah, a lot of people miss it, and it's not anyone's fault. It is just terrible misinformation that leads all the way back to the inception of the introduction of exercise into large masses or our society. Women want to be petite. They want to be slender. They want to have that hourglass figure, if you will. So they eat less and then they lift lighter weights. And you need to do the exact opposite. You need to eat frequently and you need to lift heavy weights.
Well, you hit it spot on with the. You hit it pretty spot on with the information. I think there's a huge disconnect with the type of information we've been all getting to our fingertip or to our eyeballs. So it's like, where do I go with this? Once you get in here, you start seeing it. You can start seeing results. Do you see results faster with people who are? I guess this is kind of like that are
Sure.
more heavier, overweight, or does it just depend?
Sure.
Like, is it just?
So my job is stupid easy because if you're someone who's brand new to exercise, you could jog in place for an hour and you're going to see results because your stimulus is at zero. So all you have to do is do something. You can start with a walk and you can start with, getting 10,000 steps a day. People wear fitness trackers. Even 10,000 steps would be a lot for someone who's deconditioned or coming off the couch. You start with 5,000 steps a day, which is not much. You're talking 2.5 miles. And then if they address the biggest problem, which is nutrition, you'll go a long way.
Let's break it down. You just gave
Sure.
a pretty interesting stat. So there's how
Sure.
many steps in a mile?
As far as basically the metric is 10,000 steps is 5 miles roughly, give or take. You're talking about some very minute things like how long's your stride, your limb length, but just generalizing 10,000 steps is 5 miles. So 5,000 steps would be 2.5, and then you could go from there. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but the average person, I would say with their lifestyle, we're really sedentary. Everyone's working from home. They're not moving a lot. The average person is probably pressed to get 10,000 steps. And I coach in the gym. I'm not, by no means am I most active person on the planet, but I'll get easily just walking around in my job. I'm on my feet. I'll get 15,000 steps daily, and that's going to help with fat loss. So right there, I don't need to worry about that because that's taken care of just through walking.
So what would be like one thing you would suggest for someone who is staying at home? I mean, like get up every half hour.
Yeah, I mean, like it sounds silly, but if you set a reminder on your phone, we're all on our phones. Everything's on our phone. If you set a reminder on your phone every 30 minutes, you get up and you walk around for 5. I mean, you do that twice an hour. You're gonna position yourself to be, dangerous down the road. So you start there, and then you tap into your food. A lot of people are eating just junk, just processed food. I mean, our diet is terrible here in America. We have stuff here, Doritos and things with red dye in it that is banned in European countries or Canada. It's pathetic.
Okay, let's just say put yourself into someone who is like super tight on a budget.
Okay.
Doesn't really have access to like the most organic foods.
Sure.
What do you recommend?
Easy. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to eat a whole diet. So you're going to try and address your food where you're eating protein sources, solid protein sources, meat, chicken, fish, and then you're going to be eating clean carbs.
Even if that meat might have some antibiotics in it.
I mean, it's better than eating fast food every single day. So even if you're going to Costco or even Kroger, they have a rotisserie chicken. You chop that bad boy up, it's like $7. You shred that up and you throw that over a bed of lettuce, and even if you put a little drizzle of ranch on there instead of just baptizing it, you put a tablespoon or 2, and that's a better choice right there. And it's not hard to do. You can even buy rice that is just microwavable, and you have rice and chicken for some variants. But you throw in some solid protein, some solid carbs, and healthy fats. Eat a whole foods diet. We call it real foods instead of processed foods, scientifically made foods. You're going to be, again, in a better position than someone who's doing those things, eating a highly processed diet.
So those ready-made oats, man.
Mm-hmm.
You've been raving about those.
Yeah, I have been raving.
Break those down for me.
Okay,
what do you put in those?
It's super easy, and my mom used to make these when we were in school, and I loved them just because I like the steel cut oats, and you mix it in with a little bit of milk, and it's got this nice porridge texture to it. So if you like that, it's a win-win. But it's literally steel cut oats, and you take a cup of oats, and then you take either Greek yogurt or milk. I use almond milk, and you take half of that.
Real quick.
Uh-huh.
You said almond milk.
Yeah.
Okay, we can go back to this, but
okay.
What's your opinion on whole milks versus almond and soy and all that?
Yeah,
I want to know your opinion.
Without being like super crazy about it, like it's really people's tolerance. So a lot of people have become lactose intolerant, or they're gluten intolerant, and this is developed over time through just how crappy our food has gotten. I mean, there's more people on the earth, and the nutrients from our food has gotten lower and lower because we have to keep up with this demand. So you get all these weird things going on with the body, and over time, as we reproduce, you're starting to see this stuff happen more and more. A lot of people are allergic to things, or they have intolerances. I consider myself blessed. It doesn't bother me to drink whole milk, but I will switch in almond milk as just a health conscious decision.
I was listening to a podcast not too long ago about just like simple magnesium to your diet. That was some like vitamin D. Just so many little things you don't. Yeah.
I mean, it's wild. And again, like you can go down many rabbit holes, and this is why, just tying back into, if you're someone who's pressed for time, you don't have time to be an expert in all these fields. I'm not an expert in all these fields, but that's why you pay someone. Like, I can't fix my car. I'm not going to try to. I'd take it to a mechanic or a professional or the dealership and let them do it. I expedite this process because it's going to save me time. I'm going to mess it up. I'm going to make mistakes. So that's what I'm here for. People need to use experts. And if you pay me, I'm going to deliver you and help you out, and I'm going to condense this down in a digestible fashion that's going to be easy for you to be successful. You owe me an hour a day, and you're good.
So when you're pressed for time, what do you recommend? What were we just talking about? I'm not fucking confused.
You were just kind of talking about, like, we were talking about
I'm gonna check on that.
We were talking about the steel cut oats and the overnight oats, but basically, people live busy lives, and the older you get, the more responsibilities you take on. So you don't need to overcomplicate things. A lot of people, their ego gets in the way. They want to train themselves, or especially you'll get this weird dynamic with a boyfriend or a husband. They bring their spouse in here and they want to teach them themselves how to lift weights, and they have no clue what they're doing alone, let alone teaching their spouse how to lift weights. It's like, hey, buddy.
Do you want to know what's going on?
Let's hear it.
Because that was me.
Okay.
That's me. That's like me like 2 weeks ago. It's you're letting your ego get in your way.
And, dude, I see it every day, and I've seen it for years. Guys are the worst. They have the biggest egos. Girls have a lot more humility, and I'm generalizing here. But people have monster egos. So when they come in and you're talking about transforming your overall physique and your health and wellness, they can't let go. So they want to have some control over this, and they just can't let me do my job. So people literally block their own blessings, and they get in their way because they simply can't be a student. They can't be a sponge. They can't be coachable. They feel like they need to have the upper hand. And that's what I'm here for. That's what I've been doing and learning for the last 10, 11 years. Is perfecting my craft so I can better help people. But for whatever reason, and it might be other industries, but I feel like it's really prevalent and prominent in my space, people feel like they know everything. And if that's the case, then why do we have gyms? Why do we have experts in this field? It's like anything else. So if you're coachable, and if you just surrender to the process and say, hey, I have 15 pounds of unwanted fat around my midsection. You know, I'm 55 years old. I have 2 kids. I'm working 50 hours a week. I'm eating processed foods, or I'm eating my meals from a gas station or out of a paper sack. Then you got a problem. And my team is here to help you, and we can do that for you in an hour. From start to finish, we'll warm you up, we'll run you through a strength portion and then a conditioning or a workout of the day, and we'll switch it up. We'll do all the programming design. All you need to do is walk through the doors and then just not eat like a human dumpster, and you will see results in 30 to 90 days, and you're just going to build on top of that. It's going to boost your confidence, all that stuff.
So based on what you're saying, fixing this even more. To sum things up, you are stressing how important it is to have like at least a little bit of a meal prep. Like, how important is meal prep to this whole process or for success? I mean, it's pretty critical, right? This
is a phenomenal question, and again, I don't have it all figured out, and I'm still learning. And about the time I have it all figured out, I'll probably be, pushing daisies. But meal prep and nutrition that's your foundation. I mean, I would go as far as saying you don't even need exercise.
Well, that and a little bit of sleep, right?
Yes. Sleep, hydration, nutrition. I would say those are the 3 biggest factors. If you fix your nutrition, you are going to do yourself a tenfold service instead of exercising first and then trying to work backwards and fix your nutrition. The nutrition is your base. So you can't build a monster house or a nice mansion if you have a faulty structure. So nutrition is the base.
Can you tell if someone's been drinking and they come in here?
Well, that's a really great question. So again, me being a former addict, or a former addict, and I guess some would argue once you're an addict, you're always an addict. Yes, I can tell when people.
Oh, dude, I'm an addict. I can admit that all day, baby.
I mean, and you know what? Like I used to be ashamed of that, but I really could care less because it's made me who I am. And again, I'm not proud of it, or I'm not bragging about it, but I'm proud of the things that I've done with it to turn something that was a loss into a win. And again, if someone walks in here, I have a pretty good idea of if they're a closet drinker, if they're binge eating, if they're engaging in extracurriculars, because I've been there and I've done it. So it's like you can't bullshit a bullshitter. I've been there and I've done that. So that's rule number 1, is you literally have to drop your ego at the door and just surrender to the process if you're going to be successful.
Yeah, between like you and I probably wouldn't. So that's maybe, I guess, kind of where it helped me open up a lot about, we just have a unique relationship right
Sure.
now, but
And I appreciate our relationship.
fuck, man, like, I can only imagine the fear some people are having when they're just, and this is probably off the record, but I sometimes I feel so, people call me skinny, but like I can only envision how bad it would feel to be like super, super overweight and just know that like you try and you're just like that gluttony and like I could fucking starve myself for like 3 days if I really fucking had to, but I can't envision someone else having to do it.
And dude, I'm not even gonna pretend to know. Like, I know what it's like to be extremely overweight or obese. I've been 240 pounds before, and right now, just for reference, I feel like I'm a lean and mean 205. It's a struggle, but the first thing is you have to understand when you're talking about your physical form, your shell, your body, this is a marathon. The fitness industry as a whole is packaged and sold in 30-day challenges as quick fixes, as all this BS, but the real deal is it's just making the next right decision. Even if you have a good breakfast and a bad lunch, you made one good decision, one bad decision.
How can someone compare themselves to you when you've been working at this for about 11 years, dude?
Yeah, and
or even longer, right?
Yeah, I mean, so I've been working out. I worked out at Lifetime First when it broke ground in Commerce Township. I went there with my father, and we had a personal trainer, and I was in high school. So I was about 16 when I started working out seriously, or 15. So now I'm 34. So it's been about 20 years I've been working out or playing athletics in some form or fashion. I played a variety of sports. I was never an outstanding athlete. I would say I was just average or slightly above average. So, shout out to my parents for the good genetics. But that stuff helps out. But again, like when you're tackling a mountain, you can't scale it in one day. There's steps and there's progressions. And this is, again, going back to the ego, you cannot compare yourself to a professional. So I'm a professional and you don't see the body of work that I've done. Go ahead.
You said something really important to me. It was something about like everyone's got their each like little minor deformities or something. What did you say again? What was it? Like everyone's got a little bit of like their own like just you can't everyone's different.
Yeah, so everyone's got to run their own race. Like, how I got here might not be for you. You might have taken the long way, and that's okay. All that stuff's okay, but you can't live in the past. I think what I said is, I'll get guys in here, specifically guys in their 40, and they'll see me or someone else who's in shape, and then they start working out and they're embarrassed, right? I mean, they're out of breath after the warm-up. The warm-up's 8 minutes, and they're fully worked out. They're about to puke. And I'm like, hey, dude, it's okay. Stop the warm-up. We don't want you to get too much. I'd rather you get not enough than get too much. And guys just will tell you about their glory days back in high school football, and they're like, I wish I would have found this when I was 16. Well, it's like, guess what? You're not 16, and you didn't find this when you're 16, but you're here now, so let's go to work. And again, you just got to leave your ego at the door and surrender to the process, because it's a marathon.
So let's just say someone joins your gym.
Okay.
How often do you recommend going each week to start? I mean, maybe a little bit gradually increase. Like, what would be a standard process or a standard like entry level getting someone in? And then we can just brief on this and then maybe go into those questions.
Okay.
Again.
And this is an excellent question, John. So when someone walks through my doors, again, like I'm an all-in type of person, and a lot of people are like this. They want to overhaul everything. So they're like, I'm going to work out every day. I'm going to fix my nutrition. And it's like, whoa. Let's just first work out 3 days a week. So if you can work out Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you're good to go. This is something brand new to you. It's a new stimulus. You need to give yourself basically some grace, and you need to build your way into it. So 3 days a week is what I would recommend.
So 3 days a week you'd recommend at least getting in here. And then Angela's got a good question on here. What types of food to eat right before working out for maximum performance?
And this is a great question, and if I could simplify it, we can talk about what are great foods to eat pre and post workout, but going back to just the acronym KISS, keeping it simple, stupid. Most people aren't even eating before they work out, right? So I have a 6 a.m. class, and if someone's eating before this, or if I ask them, hey, what'd you have for breakfast? They're probably lying, because most people are just rolling out of bed, and they're lucky if they even get here. So the first thing you would want to do is you want to get something in your body, a source of protein, a healthy carb, and a healthy fat about 60 minutes pre-workout. So that's where the overnight oats come in.
Well, what if you're a morning workout type of person and you're trying to fast because of you believe in that method?
I think again, it's hypercritical with all these questions. It's so individualized, and my answer would be it depends, because every person is unique, and what works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. I think fasting has its place, and I think other methods have their place, but it might not work for you or me. So you have to be open to experimenting.
So back to the question, what types of foods would you recommend right before the workout for maximum performance?
Okay, so let's just take the example of you're working out at 6 a.m. So you're someone who's busy, you got a couple kids, you got a 9 to 5. You're going to have to get up at 5 or 5:30, and I would just have a simple protein shake or a couple hard-boiled eggs with a handful of almonds. So you're hitting proteins and healthy fats at least. You're checking 2 of the 3 boxes of protein, carbs, and fats, or again, like a protein shake, just to start and see how your body operates with, a full belly.
You say protein shake. I mean, there's whey protein. There's so many. I get confused looking at it. What do you mean? Like what type? What do you recommend?
So the good news is, again, like we're a one-stop shop. This team here, I sell supplements, and we just use whey protein, and it's easy digested. There's a lot of studies on it. It's pretty solid, and you don't need to get super wild about that stuff. Like I said, most people aren't even getting the appropriate amount of protein. They're not even getting it in at all. So
aren't you just like pissing out half of it anyways?
Again, and then like you have all these intricacies of how much should I take? What's the proper dosing? The answer again is it depends. Like what's your goals? What kind of body? What's your body weight at? What are you trying to get to? And you gotta kind of reverse engineer a lot of these questions and answers, which is why you need a team or a professional.
So I'm actually going to get some blood work done just to get checked up. How often do you recommend that? I mean, do you get blood work done for, diabetes, those kind of things? Yeah,
this is a phenomenal question. And as I get older, admittedly, I have not been the greatest at that stuff. I figure, hey, I'm an in-shape guy. I look pretty decent. I don't need to get that done. But I've seen some stuff happen with people who they appear on their physical form, their shell, that they're healthy, and you could have some stuff laying dormant. So everyone needs to go get blood work, especially if you're in that 40 and over range. Like you should have a blood panel done so you can deep dive into some of those things, how you can tighten up your diet, or maybe your lifestyle is adversely affecting possibly your overall, how long you're going to be here on this planet. So.
Yeah, dude, we're going to turn this into an education station.
I would love to do that.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Let's do it.
Like, what do you see? Do you see a potential education station out of the CrossFit Fate?
I really do. So, like, you saw that private Facebook group, and you see all the people with all these different little expertise, or they have all their own professions, and everyone is, like you talked about, they're kind of like a micro expert. And if everyone works together instead of trying to do the opposite and working independently, it makes things go a lot easier. We just did like a in-house competition, the CrossFit Open, which is the largest online competition, and a lot of people helped me make it special. One person did the scoring, like we did a little intramural competition. One person did heat assignments. So everyone pitched in. Like it really takes a village to make something special happen. You can't do it on your own.
So we're getting back into it. Let's go back into those questions again. I think
Yes,
we were
sir.
talking about oats quite a bit, but
Yes.
meals. I mean, is there anything? Let's pull it back up. I just got some weird text message.
Okay.
So you're a Sagittarius, man.
Yes, I am. I've been looking at a whole lot of astrology and zodiac signs and getting into all that stuff, which is funny because I used to make fun of people who thought like my mom really likes stuff like that, and she kind of introduced me to it, and she's like, here's your sign, and it gives you some insight on your personality. And I was just oblivious to really like getting tapped in with myself, who I am, things that make me tick, things that I should stay away from. And then life happens, and then you're like, holy cow, like all this stuff actually rings true with what's going on with me and how I operate and things that I should do and things that I shouldn't do. So it's been pretty profound for me, and I know it's not a religion, but right now I'm definitely all up on the horoscopes, and it helps me do my job better, because if I'm like, hey, what's your birthday, John? And you tell me, and then I look at your sign, I'm like, oh, this person is probably going to operate or be motivated by this, and they're going to be pushed away by this. So in a weird way, it's helped me out 360 degrees.
Dude, it's funny you bring that up, because I know a business owner who he, by the book, knows everything about the DISC assessment. Do you know what the DISC assessment is?
No, tell me.
It's like when HR is analyzing like a prospect, like a potential employee.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have you take a series of questions. It's a questionnaire, and it will categorize you based on the way you answer certain questions into certain, it puts you into a category, but it's very similar to your zodiac sign. I feel like
I love it.
You could see some people, some relations or some correlations with zodiacs and the high D or C categories. I need to refresh on that.
If I can piggyback off that, my dad was telling me, he ran a business, and he was telling me when they interviewed people, they went out to their vehicles and they looked in their cars, and if their car was a mess, then they're out. Like, again, it's kind of how goes back to like if you see someone at the grocery store and they can't return their cart to the carousel, like they're probably, that tells the little things tell you everything about someone. Like if you can't even do this basic thing of keeping your car clean or returning your grocery cart at the grocery store and be a good person and have some honorable traits, then we don't want to deal with you. And I think some of that holds weight for sure. So I get what you're saying.
Dude, thinking about that, man, that makes me analyze like my dailies. Like I want to make my bed every morning.
Sure.
But I don't.
I mean, again, like, and I will be the first person to admit, like, I know all the right things to say and do to a certain extent. I'm still learning. I'm not perfect, but I mean, you can go out to my car right now. It's an absolute mess. So I know all these things, and they're good metrics, and it's a good way to analyze someone. However, we're all still people at the end of the day. Like, I had problems in the past, and I'll still have problems, and I'll have a bunch of mistakes. So it's important to handle yourself and other people with grace, for sure.
Yeah, don't be too hard on yourself sometimes,
Dude, I mean, yeah, we can't be too hard on ourselves. It's already hard enough out there, so.
So going back to that question about,
sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's already hard. We're all our worst enemies, man. We all are critiquing ourselves, right?
100%, dude. And I mean, this is why this place is cool, because it's a safe space for this hour. I've rarely seen people get combative, or I've rarely seen people tear each other down. This is the opposite. Like, we're building people up, and it's just very cool to see. So
we covered the types of foods to eat
mm-hmm.
pre-workout.
Mm-hmm.
What about post? Did we cover that exactly?
No, we didn't. We didn't cover that post, but that was a two-parted question, and it was the second part of Angela's question, I believe. And again, the same.
Cover it from the top again.
Yes, sir. So Angela was like, "Hey, what's the best things to eat pre and post?" And I just kind of paraphrased and said, use the acronym KISS.
Talk about it in present now, just like
okay.
Because I think we might have lost
Okay, to act like it's a new question. Gotcha.
So going to Angela's question.
So Angela asked, she was in the Facebook group. I said, hey, we're doing this podcast, me and John. Does anyone have any questions? And Angela says, what's the best pre and post workout things to eat, pre and post workout? And I just would say, keep it simple. Most people aren't even eating before or after, and that is probably a miss. So if you just at least get in a protein shake. I mean, I would say that's the bare minimum. That's the easiest thing to do. We sell protein here. You can buy it anywhere. You can get, a protein shake at a gas station or a protein bar. Start with that. And then once you develop and you get better and better, you can build on top of it. And then you can eat a meal where you're going to eat, hey, I'm going to eat, 5 to 8 ounces of ground beef, and I'm going to eat some rice. So you get your protein, your complex carbs, and then toss in a healthy fat, like you're going to eat a handful of almonds, put on some vegetables. It's a win. And it's not very hard to do. Like, it's pretty easy to drive through the fast food joint, but it's just not a good source. So you want to consider the source. Like, yes, you can get in protein, carbs, and fats from fast food, but you do that day after day, and that's a bad source. The quality of food matters.
Well, doesn't that also create more problems too, like more inflammation, more just more toxicity in your bloodstream?
100%. Like, this stuff is, you got to understand, this stuff is not natural. And I'm not trying to sound hokey, but our ancestors, they didn't roll through Wendy's or Chick-fil-A or Culver's. Like, I see Culver's right here in Wixom. You would think that they're giving away $100 bills because that place has a line wrapped around it. If I have the type of customers Culver's does, like, I'm good to go. But I can't get people in the gym like how I want to, because this takes work, it takes effort, and it takes sweat equity, and it's a lot easier to make those bad decisions or less than decisions. And you can stop at Aldi's, you can stop at Kroger's, and you can pick up some lunch meat. It's not the greatest decision, but it's a lot better than going through the fast food line. You pick up some lunch meat, a turkey breast, you get a pepper or an apple, and you bite into that thing, and that's a lot better decision than driving through and picking up the brown paper sack.
There was something I seen. It was like an ex-Navy guy or whatever, but he broke it down. It was pretty simple, and I'll never forget it. He just said, keep it bare simple.
Mm-hmm.
It was a jerky, apples, and eggs.
I mean, seriously, like when we're road tripping, or, I get away every now and again and we'll go on trips, like, you can run into the gas station, you get a beef stick and a piece of cheese, and that's going to be a better option than grabbing that bag of chips. Like, there are so many options we have every single day, and if you can just think about making the next best decision, and you can win these little micro things in your day, and it's going to make you feel better. Like, I know myself, if I start out my day with a bad decision, it's kind of a snowball effect. So if I start out with McDonald's Egg McMuffin, like, yeah, it's not the worst, but it doesn't make me feel good about myself. I don't feel good. And then you're like, well, the day's over, and I'm going to have Subway for lunch, and then I'm going to have, pizza for dinner.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I feel like the best way for someone who's struggling to get into the gym and is trying to break out of that bad habit streak, do you recommend gym in the morning, like workout in the morning for that purpose alone?
100%, because you're just building a new habit. Like, I mean, I even heard someone say, like, even if you don't work out, just put your gym bag in the car and drive to the gym, show up. You don't even need the workout, but you're rewiring that whole your mindset is shifting. You're changing your perspective, and that's super important and can go a long, long way.
Dude, that's huge. I think that, like, literally someone who's struggling, he's got so much freaking anxiety they can't even, like, step into the door. At least just buy a freaking gym bag or get one from Salvation Army. Put an extra change of clothes in it and just go to the gym before and see how that might – how long does it take to get there? How much time you're going to need there?
Just drive there. I mean, even on the drive there, you're going to be thinking about, like, holy crap, this is something new. I'm going to the gym. You're going to get those butterflies in your stomach. You're going to start rewiring your brain. And I mean, I'll take it a step further. Even if you don't get the energy or you don't have the gumption to drive to the gym, once your feet hit the floor, like, try and do 10 push-ups. That's something different. Or, take a cold shower or do something that's going to improve you. Meditate, take some deep breaths, anything. You can do anything, and you can break it down, and everything is scalable.
I'm so happy you mentioned that because I'm gonna put a link to that 6-phase meditation by that Ishion guy.
Yeah, that was good.
Did you listen to
Yeah,
that?
I did listen to that. That was good.
That one puts me to sleep, though.
Dude, I mean, that stuff is powerful, and it seems super hokey. Like, again, I made fun of all this stuff when I was younger, but when you get older, all the stuff that your parents tell you and your elders tell you, it starts to ring true as you get older and you start to gain all these new responsibilities and all these stressors. That stuff adds up, all that little stuff.
So that video, he spent years to compile everything into that 15-minute. And his philosophy is to break it down into 6 different pillars. How can he maximize that little time of his day and say the right things and the right words at the right times? And for that 15 minutes, he's able to just exponentially when you hear him talk about how he put everything what went into that one video,
sure,
it blows your mind.
And I mean, dude,
it goes hand in hand with what you do out here in the gym.
And I believe it because a lot of people, it's tough to do all that stuff and to provide something to someone that could be a hack or super helpful, but you don't know how much effort's gone into it until you try and do it yourself. So like coaching, for example, people are like, dude, I would be so in shape, I would look so great if I worked out all day. And it's like, well, hold on, that's not what I do. You don't know what I do because you've never done it, and it's a skill set, and it needs to be respected and treated as such. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to professionalize all these little things that are really life hacks. Like when you're working out, you're releasing endorphins, and when you're releasing endorphins, you feel good. And everyone's trying to get that next quick fix through pills or food or cheap thrills through your phone. And this stuff really is the greatest hack you can do, because once you start seeing the results on your body, and it's physical and it's a mental change, and your confidence goes up, you're getting stronger, you're getting faster, all these positives, it just starts trickling down to everyone around you. It starts snowballing, and I mean, it's like a video game. You're the character, and you're building yourself up just little by little, brick by brick, but it's not an overnight thing. So again, trying to get people in here and just take those little easy steps. You don't need to start at the top of the mountain. You just got to look at it first, and then you can start venturing upwards.
So some of the extra stuff that you guys offer here would be a little bit of PT therapy with Angela in the front. What are some of the things that she also offers? Yeah,
so Angela, she's went through extensive schooling, which is more than I can say. I've kind of done the trial by fire thing and just got in the trenches and started coaching. And everyone starts out terrible, so I'm happy and thankful for everyone who's stuck with me. But Angela, she went to school, and she's a real PT. She does that. That's her gig outside of here, along with being a mom and all these other great things. But she offers dry needling, body work, physical therapy, rehab, prehab, acupuncture. She has a traction table, and that's all in-house, which again, I think is great because it's a one-stop shop for people.
Yeah, essentially, if you're like recovering from an injury or like a surgery or something, this is where you can go for your PT and then post PT.
100%. And again, like, I can't do this all on my own. So it's great that I have this solid team of people who have different skill sets, and it's just like our toolbox is just getting bigger and bigger, and it's something we can build on for sure.
We're calling it the education station, bro.
I love it.
Oh my God, I almost dropped that drink. All right. I mean, I'm looking at these questions, and you're hitting quite a bit of them. So it's just in different formats. So from Roger, how do you create your workouts?
So first of all, Roger's my boy. I will definitely say, just tying in how great this gym is.
And what's your process look like?
Roger's my boy. I love Roger. He's a good friend. Also, amazing human being. If you've never talked to him, you should talk to him. But as far as program design, So programming workouts, it's not as simple as just pulling from an app. So a lot of people, if you want to see real results, this is an individualized process and you need an expert. So when we're designing programs, we're doing it for the masses. I do group classes.
So I can't just hop on like First Form and just do my workout from First Form.
Well, again, that's funny you say that. If you start like that, that's great. Like Brian McDermott, one of my coaches, he lost 100 pounds on his own, and he just got a Planet Fitness membership, and all he did was he started running. Is it the best thing? No. Long term, you're doing a lot of movement redundancy, which is going to lead to injuries if you don't strength train, and you're just doing repetitive motion, which you will get injured. It's just a matter of time. So starting out, I think anything is better than nothing, right? So you could start out, if you even go to CrossFitFate.com, I have under the workout of the day category, I have 7, 8, 9 years of free workouts. You can click on that. That's free. Anyone can access that. And you can do that at your house. If you have a question, you can hit me up. But
that's where you've been telling me to go all along, and I'm just like, oh, you got to do this. It's all there. I'm like, I'm so blind sometimes, man.
Well, it's funny because it's literally right there in people's faces.
But maybe that's this is on the side note, but maybe that's the issue. We just got to make that a little bit more accessible.
100%. Like people don't know about it, and I just assume people know about it because I've done the work and I wrote the workouts and they're there, and I'm like, why aren't people using this? But people don't know what they don't know, so I have to start telling people about this.
Or if there's been a lot of questions about it, if it's continuously coming up, then you just make a small change. Yeah,
exactly. It's been a total shift in my mindset. Like I assume that people know this stuff, and then you get mad and you get frustrated. Like, why aren't people knocking down my doors? But again, that's my problem, and I'm trying to work through it. And there is a ton of free workouts that I offer to people, and you don't need anything to get started. Like I said, you can hit the ground with your own body weight. You can start doing push-ups. You can start doing lunges. You can start doing squats. Yeah,
that actually goes into the next question. It's like the use of objects around you to work out in the event in a remote location. Is that Marita?
Yeah, Maria. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what do you recommend? I mean, someone's with you, they have a good idea like what they need to work on. But What would you recommend for me if I'm in a hotel room?
Exactly, and that's exactly what those workouts are there for. Like I want people to use them if they're on the road. You just need your body weight, so you can start out and you can get an excellent workout with just your body weight. Push-ups, squats, sit-ups. You do that in rotation, 10 reps of each for 20 minutes. I guarantee you're going to be worked out, and you'll have enough. And if you don't, then do it for 30 minutes. And then once you get really good at that, you can bring a kettlebell, throw it in your car, or most hotel rooms, they have a set of dumbbells, they have a bench, and you just shoot me a text message, and I'll write you up something that can be effective and simple, and you just got to get moving. So there's no excuse.
Yeah, so down the road, you're going to obviously have to adapt into technology and those things. You're going to want to take yourself away from some of those little things.
Sure.
You're obviously open to adapting certain little, I don't know, you're saying maybe some screens down here. Like what do you, have you talked to anyone doing anything like that? Or?
Yeah, so like, I mean, my gym is old school in a sense of we have a whiteboard and we have a dry erase marker, which I like. And people literally, I write the workouts by hand. I try to get people to log their workouts by pen and paper, but people just don't do that anymore. Like everything is on the phone. Everything is technology based. So I have to adapt, and we're working on making a pivot. Everything is through the phone, and people need to log their workouts, whether it's electronically or whatever is going to keep them engaged. So we're definitely going to be bringing things up to speed because that's how everyone operates, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure QR codes are going to be on your whiteboard here in the new future. Like a QR and maybe a little tablet over there or something.
1,000%. And a lot of gyms are doing it, and the reason that they're doing it because it keeps people engaged. Like if you can't see the results through tracking your metrics, then you're not going to be here long because like we talked about, this is not an overnight success. It's not even 30 days or 60 days. You're talking like a 2 to 5 year plan.
Plan on it for the rest of your life. You want to go all in, man.
I mean, it sounds cheesy, but like in high school, we had PE, and there was a section of it that was called life sports. So I find that super valuable looking back because they were teaching you stuff that I perceived as dumb. Like we played floor hockey, or we learned a golf swing, or we learned soccer. Exercise and GPP or CrossFit is a life sport. You want to be doing this for your whole life. Like I said, I have clients who are 60 years old. They've been working out now since, they're 20 or 16, pick a number. And you want to do this for your whole life because as you get older, you start to lose bone density. So it's important for people to be lifting weights and keeping their body strong, because if not, a simple fall when you're 70 years old, you break a hip, that can kill you. So it's very important to be working out and lifting weights throughout the entirety of your life. If you want to have a good quality of life, you need to do this.
Yeah. And I'm gonna assume that you guys do a little bit of quite a bit of stretching and all that stuff, like pre. That's part of your warm up, right?
Yeah. So I will say, my philosophy, as everyone's has, it's changed over the years. And we'll do sometimes just some general mobility or maintenance or soft tissue release pre and post workout, because like me and you were talking, everyone's lifestyle is so different. A lot of people are sitting down and they're hunched over, they're on their phones. So just doing some basic maintenance and knowing how to do that to your body is super valuable, because people think if their knee hurts, they think they're going to have to get a knee replacement. And if you talk to your practitioner or general health physician, I'm not knocking and saying that they're not valuable, but they're immediately suggesting that you stop all physical activity and start to go see a specialist to undergo looking at some type of surgery. And it's not true. You can maintain your car, you can change the tires, you can do an oil change, you can get things calibrated, you can do the same thing to your body if you get with an expert that shows you how to maintain yourself.
You bring up a super, super important point. I'm in this situation where I'm afraid to go under the knife.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I can.
Mm-hmm.
I know I can get the diagnosed and be in surgery next week.
For
or
sure.
Whatever, a few months or a month from now. Do you believe you can avoid surgery?
Dude, I will, again, I'm not a doctor, so I'll just give out the disclosure, take this advice with a grain of salt. I'm not a doctor. Consult with your physician, all that good stuff. But I'm not special, right? I've been doing this stuff for 20 years and I'm injury free. I have not gone through any surgeries, and I work out 5 days a week. Sometimes I'm working out multiple times a week, and what people would perceive as intense workouts. And if you know enough to be dangerous, you can maintain through those little bumps and bruises. It's an uncomfortable process to push your body, and you're going to get some little tweaks. But if you're with a professional, they can show you how to open up different tissues, how to maintain your body, and avoid going through surgeries that are going to be life-changing. You're going to get scar tissue. Once you get cut open, you're never going to be the same. So you want to avoid that stuff at all costs, because fitness is a life sport. And it should be treated as such, and that's what we're trying to do, is professionalize this thing and tell people hey, you can do this, and you can live a higher quality of life through an hour a day. Literally, you do an hour of working out a day here for 3 to 5 days a week. You don't even need to do it for 5 days a week. Give me 3 hours of your time and make some healthy, conscious decisions, shift your perspective, and you're good.
3 hours of your time a week, and that's
Yeah.
it. And how many hours in a week? I think it's 146.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's a small percentage. People probably spend 3 hours on their cell phones in the bathroom a week. It's minimal.
On the shitter.
Yeah, it's seriously, and I mean, it's wild. It is the buy-in to invest in your health and wellness. There's a quote, it basically goes there's not a price tag on your health. How can you put a price tag on having a higher quality of life and doing that for a long period of time? I'm pretty sure people would pay anything to get that done. So my team here is good. I feel like we can improve your quality of life and keep you functioning at a high pace for a long time. So it's a no-brainer for me.
I think we hit a lot of the topics.
I agree.
And we're probably going to wrap it up soon here. It's
Okay.
getting kind of late. But, dude, it's... Okay, hold on. So what'd you think about the podcast so far?
I'm not gonna lie, I was extremely nervous to hop up here with you, and this you got a great setup, and you have a wealth of knowledge, but it's fun, and it helps me to help other people. And once you get that information out there, it just makes me better, it makes you better, and then hopefully in turn, someone receives this message and they make that step to come into the gym or switch up their diet or make a small little adjustment that will lead to a big shift.
Well, let's just say it's not even someone who's local and they see this video, they might join their other, like a local gym across,
Sure.
In West Michigan or something.
Sure.
At least they heard it somewhere.
I mean, hey, if, again, there's enough customers and there's enough people on this planet where we all can get a little piece of the pie, if I'm not your guy, or if our team, my gym, is not right for you, send me a message. I'll definitely hook you up or steer you in the right direction, because it will lead to someone and something greater. And somewhere along the way, if we just make these small little waves, it's going to make a big wave. And as a whole, our population is wildly out of shape and unhealthy. So I'd like to see a shift.
I mean, I'm just honestly impressed by the 2 days I came here and then hanging out with you the last few days, seeing what you have. I'm proud of you, man.
Oh, dude.
I really am.
Seriously,
You just got to keep it going, man. I'll be here hanging out with you guys.
Dude, I've really had a ball being around you, and it's been a lot of fun. And yeah, it brings a smile to my face because it's genuine, and I totally believe in what's going on in here, and I believe in what you're doing, and I'm just jazzed up. I'm ready to go.
Dude, we got a bunch of rock stars that we're just gonna be bringing through here, making some progress. Pictures, we're gonna do. Actually, let's put that out there in the atmosphere, the universe. We're doing progress pictures. Yeah. So how do you envision that working?
So I envision that working very well, because people need something tangible to see, and it's hard for them to see the vision like how me and you see it right now. So if people see, like, hey, here's so and so with their body before, and then 60 to 90 days after, a short period, like let's say 3 months, and you see a total transformation in their physical appearance, then it sells itself. Like, I think that's the next step and next evolution, is to do the progress pictures, and then hopefully, I'll be super busy.
It's the visual that the modern day, we're also attached to these devices. We have them at our fingertips. We're so used to seeing things, so that's what we resemble.
100%.
That's how we learn now.
100%. And there's a lot of information out there, and it's definitely on overload. Like, there's too much information, which is a good thing. It never used to be like that. I mean, you would go to the library and you have to look things up on a Rolodex. You can look things up at the tip of your fingers, and you can have 50 different perspectives, and you don't know what's what. So hopefully it'll be a good thing.
Yeah, not to mention you have artificial intelligence that can give you, its opinion pretty dang quick.
That's scary.
Yeah, it's controlled information in a way, if you think of it. So it's very important you get your source of information from the right people.
100%, because not all good information, not all information is good. So you definitely got to vet that, and you got to see it and feel it and touch it for yourself, which is still part of, hopefully, and will be around for a long time, part of the human experience. Like, I don't want everything to be done through technology personally, but I think people still need to come into a physical gym and work out and see other people and see a coach and touch a barbell. Not everything needs to be done virtually or through artificial intelligence or through an app. Like, there's still value here.
My personal testimony from going to Lifetime, going to Planet Fitness, having a membership at both of them, and then coming here for 2 days, it's a freaking 180.
Oh, dude.
It's a complete 180. And right now, if more than any time in the future, or from the pet, right now is the most important time to get involved to a type of community, even if it's just a networking. But this is kind of like, we're tight on time.
Yeah.
Might as well get them all in one spot if you can.
Dude, amen. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing your experiences and speaking highly of the gym, because hopefully it's going to help somebody out. And it's no BS. I mean, you're not making this stuff up, and I'm not making this stuff up. And if you don't believe me, you can come in here. We're not hard to find. I've been here for a while, and hopefully I'll be here for a lot longer.
Yeah, if not, you just have to go online and do an app or something.
I hope I don't have to make that shift. But
We're going to have to turn this into a Bitcoin mining place or something, or Amazon warehouse for something. Oh, my gosh,
yeah. I mean, you're not kidding. But, yeah, I'm hoping, God willing, that I'll be here for a long time, and this is something that can stay in the community and continue to just be a positive force.
Well, dude, it's been a pleasure sitting down with you.
Yes.
Honestly, I'm leaving my stuff here. We're gonna shoot again like next week.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, we're gonna do it again. But I'm getting you behind the camera, and we're doing some tutorials because you are a wealth of knowledge. I want to be around you just because of it, and it's worth my time to be listening to you.
Dude, I appreciate it. And just real quick, but I didn't do this on my own, and none of this stuff is coming from me. Like, we stand on the shoulder of giants. Someone said that quote. All this information I absorb from other people, so I got to give a nod and an ode to everyone else before me, because this isn't new stuff. I'm absorbing it and repackaging it to people who I think can use it. So
very well said, man. Well, let's wrap this up.
Let's do it.
Until next time, thanks for listening, and what do you think, man?
I love it, and I appreciate you, and thank you very much.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you too, Tyler.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you guys.
If you enjoyed the show, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you for listening.